Alright, BobalosRex here, and it's Sunday, so you know what time it is. It's a lore rant, and as you can tell, maybe from where I'm at, and what toy I'm using, I'm talking about the Arathi. Alright? Now, I'm gonna go over a lot of stuff we know, but I have some ideas of what went on to give us the Arathi that we may be seeing in the future more of. Alright? So, where to begin? Okay, let's talk about how this group of Arathi, right? So we met Farron Lothar, we met Steel Strike, all these other people. They're from the Third Fleet of the Arathi Empire, and by fleet, it's not like ships, it's these airships. Alright? They have an airship fleet. Third Fleet. Reminds me of Monster Hunter. You know, so that's something to think about. So anyways, they're from the Third Fleet. They came over 15 years ago. Alright? They crossed the storming sea. Now, they come over 15 years ago. There's like a storm. Then there's a big light. And then they appear here, crash on the cliffs. And then they're like, hey, there's this big crystal. There's fertile land. This is where we're at now. They named it Hollowfall. They created the city Mereldar, which has a name. We'll talk about what the name means in a moment. And then they were chilling here. Then 7 years ago, Sargeras stabs the sword. Bada boom. We start having these void cycles. Okay? I've already talked about the crystal. Could it have started as void? Could it have started as light? That's not going to be... That's not pertinent to the Arathi story right now and the lore rant that I'm going to talk about. But you can look at the crystal one for that. But anyways, crystal starts changing. They're dealing with that. Then all of a sudden the Corbus start coming out. Corbus, they evil fish. Alright? And then they use necromancy. And then of course, we come down, we meet them, we help them in the story. There's a cult of Shadow Arathi, we beat them up. There's light fanatical Arathi in the cathedral held up, raising undead. They ain't... The Arathi here aren't for that. We would think that the original Arathi wouldn't be for that. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But we beat them back, and then we meet them, and then we start talking, right? And then we, as players, can go around looking at all these books. And that's where we're getting all this new information. Okay? And it's through these books that I've been doing some research. And we also have a translation that I'm gonna go over of this book. Alright. And I think there's another book that people read, because I feel like there's another page. But people have translated this. And I mean, there's a word you can probably see, Hollowfall. But yeah, people put it together. So, let's bring that up. What do we got pulled up first? Oh, this is a good one. This one is a good one. Alright, so let's pull... Okay, so credit here, because this is where I got the full translation for. But they basically, keyboard turner here, pulled up. They also say that they found it and they don't remember who did. So either way, these books were translated. Now, I got it all written here. I just wanted to give credit where it's due. Alright, so that's where I got it from. So, here's what this big book that is in front of me says. Alright. Is it this one? Hold on. No. So this one is the other one. So here's the translation of this book. In the 342nd year of our glorious dominion, his holy radiance holy radiance, Emperor Thoradin the Ninth, by sovereign edict, did ordain the assembly of the Hollowfall expedition to traverse the storming sea. Alright, so we got a year here, and we got an emperor title. Now there's another book. The other book translated is "The journey was perilous, and we lost many faithful Arathi on the quest for Hollowfall, but we persevered and revealed the Emperor's vision." Alright? And then that's what they call Beladar. Alright? So, what's the deal with these Arathi? They got these fancy books. They call themselves Arathi. Who are the Arathi, if you don't know? So, the Arathi actually go way back. Let's pull up the WoW Wiki. Because this is where I was doing my research. Let's be real. This is where you do WoW research. Alright? So, I pulled up the Wiki. The original Arathi Empire started by a dude named Thoradin. He united all the tribes of humans. He teamed up with the High Elves. He beat the Trolls. Alright? Cool. One of the people teamed up with, Lordain, he had a sister named Mereldar. Okay? Now her story's talked about in the Chronicles. So, he had a sister. She had visions, right? And she basically put the people on the path of the light and the Church of the Holy Light. Alright? So, you see the connection here? We're in a city literally called Mereldar. Alright? And she's having visions. This emperor has visions. So, I'm connecting some dots here in a bit, but let's go over the facts. So, Thoradin, leader of the Arathi, Mereldar, clearly there's a connection here. These are half human, half elves. Okay? So clearly some elves from Quel'Thalas. And we learn in-game, okay, that the Sacred Flame, okay, you do a big old quest for it. And look at this flame, right? So it's both light and fire, but it's an arcane fire. It's a magical fire. Okay? Now we're going to start getting into my theories. So that's kind of the stuff we know. Okay? We also know the Emperor, they don't take kindly to outsiders. They pretty much seem to have dominion over their area. Now, there are a couple of hints that maybe some stuff isn't the best back at home. So maybe they dealing with stuff back at home. And that's why they're looking out to expand. Because here's the thing. They've been wherever they've been. Call it Avaloran, right? For lack of a confirmed area. Let's just say they're off in this other continent, Avaloran, right? Across the storming sea. They're chilling. They're full up. Alright? They're clearly looking... Why do they want to cross the storming sea now? 15 years ago? I do have a theory on that. But clearly some stuff's going on. They're sending people out. They're sending the party out. They're sending the third fleet out. Not the first, not the second. They keeping their main fleets on lock. They sending out the third. Maybe they saving the other two because the Emperor wants to expand. Alright? Alright? So, we got this group here. They're half-elves. We got the flame. That's kind of what we know. So let's start getting into the tea. Alright? I think this arcane fire, their sacred flame, this arcane and light, clearly we see the humans bring in the holy light, the Church of the Holy Light, Moreldar, and then her visions of the Naru. We think that she had visions of the Naru. And then what did the elves bring? The Sun One. Flame. Arcane fire. I definitely think the big connection with the sacred flame and these half elves, we see that really good union of elf and Lord Iran human that is now given this like Arathi Roman Empire is dealio. Well, they got airships. Rome didn't have airships, but you see, they got this Holy Roman vibe going on. So, we do got some time frames to look at, and then we got to remember they're half elves. I got a lot of stuff written here, but let's get back to some of these pages here. So, I was reading through all these books, right? For this achievement, I recommend that's how you get the toy. But here's the interesting one. And I think this and this are prophecies that are going to play a lot into Midnight and going forward. Okay? So, Emperor's Vision. What do we got going here? What are the big takeaways from here? I'm not going to read the whole thing. So they do a voyage beyond the storming sea. Brave, so this is the Emperor's Vision. Okay? Brave souls heed the sacred flame's call to voyage beyond the storming sea in the Titan's Isle. So, beyond the Titan's Isle. So either they're talking about the Isle they're on, if it's Avaloran, could be the Heretic Titans, Titan Keepers, what's up with them? If the Arathi are on Avaloran, then there's Green Dragons there and Heretic Titan Keepers. Maybe that's the dealio that they're dealing with. But we'll move on from that. I think Titan's Island is this. So if Belladar, if the Emperor's having a vision that's actually giving him light prophecies, like we've seen void prophecies in the past. So let's analyze this. Beyond the storming sea, they passed the storming sea. And the Titan's Isle. They're on the Titan's Isle right now. A radiant light shall beckon. Face the trials of Hollowfall. Let the sacred flames unraving faith be your emperor. Alright, so that's the quote. So this is the big vision. This would be interesting. I definitely think this island is the Titan thing. And I believe this is set up for what we're going to be doing in Midnight. But I'll get to what I think there. So, we got all this. The Arathi Empire, since its inception, have thrived under Sacred Flame's prophetic guidance. Our Emperor... So, they're talking about the Arathi Empire. Okay? Are they talking about the original? Or they're like new Arathi? Okay? I'm going to start... Actually, yeah. I'm going to start calling these guys new Arathi. And if I'm referring to the original, old Arathi. Or I'll just call them the original. Or I'll call them Arathi. So. They did the... See... That was... This part was the main stuff that I wanted to bring up in here. But then they talk about their third tribulation, which is the Harbinger. Is she bringing Renalash? Which the Song of Renalash is this big prophecy. Now this one, I want to read the whole thing up. So, Chapter 11. We're just getting right in. We're not getting the full thing. The Arathi, guardians of the sacred flame, form the Aegis Shields, a constellation of courage against the encroaching darkness. Their resolve, a beacon in the night, as stars begin to fade into shadow. The Harbinger's forces, nightmares of legs and claws, spun from the loom of oblivion, skittered across the battlefield, their movements a grotesque dance, echoed the discordant rhythm of a world teetering on the brink. 17. The wall, built with the living rock of titans, bore the weight of the conflict. Each stone a silent witness to the struggle, whispering tales of valor to the wind, stirring the spirits of warriors long ago. Interesting. 18. This is the real interesting. The remains of gods, scattered across the battlefield, pulsed with unseen light. Their echoes, a clarion call, stirred the Arathi, compelling them to fight, to kill for the world's dawn. Amidst the chaos, the Forgotten One cried. Who's that? When the last star fades, the Emperor's crown will weigh heavy with the sins of 1,000 years. See? The Forgotten, amidst the chaos, the Forgotten One cried. So someone is the Forgotten One, and they're gonna reveal something. And then when the last star fades, the Emperor's crown will weigh heavy with the sins of 1,000 years. The stalwart soldiers drew down their spears and wept tears of blood and burning anger. And that's all we get. There's clearly more. I wonder if we're going to get more of this book and piece together, because I think this is the hint book right here. And then we got idioms, which talk about the Aegis Wall. They talk about Thoradin's Wall. Clearly links. They have knowledge of old Arathi, original Arathi formation. Okay? Then they talk about dealing with the frickin' shadow, the void phase. And then they talk about how the Corbus came after the Dark Day. And then both this quest and then the fish quest talk about the light of Beladar does not reach the deep, and it shouldn't. And I'm like, I wonder if it was dark for a lot of its time now, sometimes. And then this book is really cool. It talks about the cosmology that we got in Shadowlands, the fractals, the shape, the cosmology shape, and all this stuff. It's just a cool little book, I think. But yeah. So, I've been doing all my research on this, looking up all this stuff. I've kind of reported back all the stuff I've researched, okay? Moreldar, all that. Now it's time where I cook. Now we're in the cooking phase. So what does this all mean to me? So 15 years ago they arrived, right? For me, if he saw a vision and he was seeing Naru visions of a battle between light and shadow 15 years ago, that battle, to me, that screams the Draenei crashing on Azeroth. I've watched a couple of videos on it. Some people are thinking about Moru and stuff in Sunwell. Maybe? But I'm thinking, what event, astronomical event, happened 15 years ago? The Draenei crashed. And it's over here. And if they're off, y'all can't see. So if the Arathi are all over this way, right? They're heading up over here. Because I think the Storming Sea is over here. That's what I think. So they come up this way. They were heading up. They saw the meteor. He's like, I have a vision. The Naru talking to me. I mean, it could have been linked to the Sunwall thing. But he's having a vision. It may run in his family. And he sends him off. I think the big event at the beginning of Burning Crusade is the Naru. And that would be when he decided, yo, I want to send him out. And then he sent him out. Because remember, that's going to take time. It's not send the third fleet now. It's like, okay, we're going to prepare. We're going to get supplies. Because they were stacked. Look at all they've created. They came into this stacked. Alright? They were ready to go. Oh. They built up. So. Now. Here's where I'm going to get weird with this. So. In the book I read, it talked about the 342nd year of glorious dominion. Keyboard Turner brought a good point. In, I think it was mentioned in Japanese, they mention a ruler's years in that way to be like, this is how long the leader is ruled for. And that would fit really well with this because 342 don't mean nothing. And when you're like, but how could this dude live to 342? Half human, half elf. Alright, and he's the 10th. You know? And then we can think, oh, maybe all the Thoradins, all of them ruled. You know, I gave it 300 years. That takes us to... Here, let's talk about the dates we're working with. Let me bring back up the stuff here. So here's the thing with the Arathi. The original Empire of Arathor, right? Founded 2,800 years before the Black Portal. Okay? That was the Troll Wars. They expanded between 2,700 and 1,200. Okay? So this is the time frame, right? This is the time frame we want to figure out, when did this empire form? Was it Thoradin the Second? Was it Thoradin the Fourth? You know? And then at what point did they start living longer? You know? As the elves and humans got together. And here's the thing. Here's the interesting part to me. And this is the key to my theory. Alright? Let's look at Lordaeron. We know the Windrunner sisters like to get freaky with humans, right? We don't see a lot of half-elves. We don't see a lot of half-elves, okay? We don't see a lot of half-elves. Okay, let alone a whole Arathi empire of half-elves. Because here's the thing. Every Arathi is a half-elf. The fat ones. The normal human models. They got ears on all of them. Alright, the elves got round ears. The humans got elf ears.
There is always
Here, look at me. Stop.
choose to look for it.
There is always hope if we choose to look for it.
Or pretty much. Yeah, look.
Sacred flame guide your
So,
way, friend.
this is a big group. So here's what I'm thinking, right? Here's my theory. One of Moreldar's ancestors got with Thoradin's ancestors, right? I'm calling this Thoradin the Second, right? Thoradin the Second is the child of Thoradin and Moreldar. Okay? I'm saying they hooked up. I'm calling it here. So they have a kid. Thoradin the Second. Thoradin the Second's like, I really like elves. He starts hanging out with elves. He gets some more of his friends that like to hang out with elves. We get a whole colony of humans and elves hanging out in Quel'Thalas and Lordaeron. You know, because this is the Arathi Empire. They're buddies with the elves. They living on top. They beat the trolls out of their own land. Phrase. They did messed up stuff. So they're partying up here. A lot of the humans don't like it. A lot of humans like, you're really buddying up with them elves too much. I don't like it. Okay? We've seen humans do this before, because look at where the humans are in Warcraft 3. They're not too friendly with the high elves. You know, they are in alliance terms, but everyone knows Garithos. Was he an outlier, I guess, in humans? Maybe. But we know humans tend to be racist. Alright? That's what they do. It's not right. So, methinks humans and elves getting together don't sit right with some people. This group, they're already pro-light, pro-holy fire. Maybe they create the sacred flame with pieces of the Sunwell and the holy light with the vision of Thoradin II or Mereldar or something. Maybe even she started it. The Holy Mother Mereldar may come out. We'll have to see. So, Thoradin II ain't sitting right. He's like, fine. Y'all gonna be like this? Y'all gonna be against us humans and elves getting together? Fuck y'all. We're out. Now, it's a very long trip. You know, we heard the Arathi went down to Stormwind. They went off to Kul Tiras. And this is not to scale. These are actually much smaller. But what I'm wondering is if they went off this way. And then ended up across the way. Alright? Or they could have ended up this way. You know, they could have gone all the way out over here. But I definitely think it was a more we head out this way. Okay, then over this way. Alright. More of a go east with your people. But who knows? I definitely think that it stems with a group that was persecuted. Like, that seems the easiest way to be like, hey, we're only humans and elf, human and elf group. Like, they were getting freaky a lot. To have a whole colony that became a whole empire on the other side of Azeroth. So, elves and humans go take their holy arcane fire and start an empire. And now they're coming back and they pro-light in a way that even Farron's like, hold up. And here's the interesting part, right? So we know that Thoradin II or Thoradin IV or whoever left with all these elves had family back home. But it does seem that Lothars are like cousins of Thoradin's. Because in one of the books I was looking up, it talks about a Duke Lothar. So he's in the royal line, but maybe Lothars aren't like the big name, you know? And we know that there are other emperors other than Thoradin's, because in one of the books, here, is that one of the ones that got brought up? Yeah. Emperor Lanes the fourth, so there are a couple Lanes. And that's why I'm thinking about with the years, it says this Emperor 342nd, maybe he's been alive that long. Maybe he's not. People have been talking about Warhammer 40k Emperor stuff. I don't know that, so I'm not going to talk on that. But maybe he is light undead. We do got... Y'all know my theory about a whole light undead raid coming at midnight. But we could have had them live longer with the elf. The half-elves live longer than the humans. And that gradually got that way, so each emperor is lasting longer than the next. But I definitely think with this being a 9th emperor, and that possibly being for 342 years, us having other emperor names with a 4, I think this Arathi Empire left really early in this expansion period. Like, right off the Thoradin built his wall, did his stuff, and then Thoradin the Second, Thoradin the Third, one of them early Thoradin children, and I think the Emperor has Moreldar's line in it, the Lordain line in it, with how closely they have the visions and whatnot, like it was passed down in the family. But yeah, that's my theory. Clearly, I definitely think this is the Titan Isle, and I think this is leading to Renalash, which is going to play out in Midnight. The Arathi are actually going to return home, and I do wonder if we will see the first or second fleet show up. That will be interesting. Alright. Oh, and the Duke Lothar conquered an island they called Island of New Light. So wherever they are, Avaloran, it's got islands. Alright. So that's interesting. Let's see if I missed anything. Visions of Light, Naru, talked about that. They did say they had a few skirmishes with the Nerubians down here before the Day of Darkness. So they were just chilling before the sword stabbing. And a couple years later, Xalatath's on the loose. Y'all know who I think caused the problems here. And then, yeah. Alright, I got everything. So yeah, what do y'all think? I definitely think some humans and some elves got freaky. Some other humans didn't like it and they left. You know, that's what I think went on. And I think it happened pretty close to that 2,700 years before the Dark Portal mark. And they just been vibing on their island. Elves and human built together. The Arathi Empire. Arcane Fire and Light. Sunwell and Holy Light. Because remember, the Sunwell isn't light until after Burning Crusade. The Sunwell is basically the Well of Eternity. So it's Azeroth juice. Alright? Azeroth juice. So if they did talk about bringing a flame and Farron lighting the embers. So if the sacred flame may have been made from the sun, from pieces of the sun, from a drop from the sun or something. That'll be interesting to find out. Anyways, that's the lore rant. Thank you for listening, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.